Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we're going through the AFL fantasy trade targets for round 17, going through and looking at who everyone has traded in and the reason behind it, I guess, and if I agree or sort of disagree with those decisions, I guess. And then also we'll do a quick check on the outs, as sometimes it can actually give you better knowledge on who's probably going to miss or who's an injury, etc., who's probably the best out, as well as they give a general guide as well. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this video. So, Lawson Humphreys, we talked about in the rookie section. Jai Caldwell, 7.4k trade-ins. I think this one is the obvious one for me. Yes, 144, 126. People might be points chasing, but he's just a forward right now that is just absolutely getting midfield time. And I missed this one back when it was... When did I miss it? Probably here, and I thought, oh, this is I missed it right after that run that I just highlighted here, and he went on 71, 61, 79, and I thought, oh, I've done well here. He's just another pick that hasn't really turned out that well. And then you went 105, 74, 101, 94, 126, 144. I really should have brought him in last week, looking at that schedule, but he's got Collingwood a little bit tougher midfield, given that they've got DeGoey, Dacos, Pendlebury, Crisp as their probably main four. So that'll be a little bit tougher, but I still think he can do really well there. 32 touches and 12 tackles last week. He can surely do something similar. He's done that for basically the last 4 weeks and getting to 12 or more non-disposal acts in itself, and that's a really good sort of baseline to see how well they're doing. Then you've got Maniz Wakefield, we talked about in the rookies. Connor Rozee, I don't like this pick still. I know that he went 72, 115, 95, but those three were all 3 games that he's come back from his injury after. And yes, you can even say, oh, look at just these 2 games, but then you're disregarding this game here. He also played here when he played as a forward and then missed next week. It's been a really weird combination here, I can tell you that. But if we look at DFS here and then look at the CBAs for Port Adelaide, I think you will see that his CBAs have been pretty fine through this run here. 61, 49, 70. So he actually scored his best when he actually wasn't playing as a on-baller as much, which is quite surprising. 27% in this North Melbourne game where he played as a forward. So yeah, he really he took up more CBAs, and that really didn't help him at all, to be honest with you. So it'll be interesting. I think he's one that averages 95 to 100 for the rest of the year, and that's not really what we're looking for. I know a lot of people have traded him over the last couple of weeks just because he's considered value, but he hasn't really shown to me anything that considers value. 93 L3 and a 75.2 L5. I know that is injury based, but the 94 L3 is not injury based, and that's not even good enough for MA. So that's why my reasoning sort of holds there. We saw him last week when he was averaging 93.5 post-injury. Now it's up to 94 across 3 games. You're starting to get a larger and larger sample size that he isn't necessarily going the best at the moment. So something needs to change for him to do that. I think he needs to get back to getting a lot of these. I mean, he is actually, looking at this, it's quite hard to tell what is actually wrong with him, because 27, 28, 26, 36 touches in this game, 26 touches in this game. It is quite hard to tell because he's sort of a combination of both. And he got 25, 28 touches. So you see here, you're thinking, what is really off with him? I think it is just the goals that he's not scoring anymore that is really keeping him down. As you see here, he had 6 goals in his first 4 games, and then 0, 1. He's kicked, what's that? One goal in his next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 8 games. So he's kicked 1 goal in his last 8 games. I think that is one of the reasons why he's not scoring as well, is because his scoring has gone off. He had 6 in his first 4, and then 1 in his last 8. I believe. Yeah, no, that adds up to 12 games. So yeah, that's why I wouldn't be going Connor Rozee at the moment. I'd be going Josh Dunkley, just because 924k, he is absolutely off a chain as well at the moment. And yeah, he went 158, 118 the last couple. He's really started to If you already had Caldwell, I'd be grabbing up Josh Dunkley because he's gone 150. Twice this year. He's gone 120 as well twice this year. He's gone 110 plus 1, 2, 3 times this year, and he's gone 100 over 100 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So he's dropped below 100 only 4 times, and 2 of them were 90s, an 87 and a 79. So yeah, I would be looking at that and thinking Josh Dunkley is in for it, especially if he continues with his non-disposal output, where he had 12 marks, which is 36, and 10 tackles, which is 40. So that is 76 points in non-disposals. When he gets upwards of 50% of his points in non-disposals, that's when he scores really, really well. So he's one that I'd be looking at. Isaac Rankin as well. He's another one that you can look at here. 771k. He's been pretty good throughout as well. So yeah, he's one that I would look at as well. 82% time on ground for a 115. I thought he'd get tagged in this. He didn't get tagged in it. Yeah, maybe you can wait another week because he's almost similar to Rosie with 100 L3, but he is a forward. So remember that is different to a midfielder by about 15 to 20 points almost. I would say in top of the line, guys. If we look at that quickly, all positions. Midfielders, we go to general stats, we go to average. So you got Walsh 1, Gordon 2, Dunkley 3, Bont 4, Merritt 5, Sarong 6, Treloar 7, Dawson 8. So Dawson is the 8th best midfielder at 107. Now we go to the 8th best, or even the 6th best forward. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We said 107. Graham Myers is the 6th best forward at 88. Then you've got 7 and 8, that still goes down to 87. So there's about 20 gap between them. And if Connor, Rosie and Rankin are doing the exact same score, or if Rankin's even outscoring Rosie, that's where he's going to be the better buy overall this week, in my opinion, as I think Rankin also has the ability to go higher. If we look at Rankin, whereas Rankin's on 86, so he's going to be one that's pushing it anyway. But his ever since that move into the midfield here, it just looks a lot better. You can just see it. You can just see the automatic gain that he has. He's gone 115, 86, so that's 201, 300, 304 points in 404 points in 4 games, which is an average of 101 in the midfield. 101 puts him right in here, and Caldwell's going to push that up as well. So he would be in the designated 5 forwards, I would say, and then you'd have either Dylan Moore, Zach Fisher, or someone like that as your 6th forward. And yeah, that's pretty much how I look at it there, to be honest with you. There are about 6 forwards with decent enough roles, but there's that just to prove that point there of why the likes of a Rosie is not as valuable as compared to the likes of a Rankin. Then you go down, Colby McCurch probably back this week, just a straight swap for Fisher, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. I would just be holding it just because at 700 or so K, 592K, he's very, very cheap, but then again, he is cheap for a reason, and you got to remember that you can't just be expecting huge scores, and 88, 99, 109. In the defender line at the moment, that probably isn't even good enough, to be honest with you. That is an L3 of a 98.7, which is probably just about good enough. But then you also have this 64 where he played back, I believe. So yeah, I wouldn't be tempting that at all. Let me just check North Melbourne, the CBAs, just to show you what I mean by that. McKercher here had a 54% and then a 9, 10, 0, 0, 0. So his last 5 games, he really hasn't played on ball at all. You can see the here he was the 50. He was the on ball game, then here was the not played game, and then the last 4 he didn't play basically on ball at all. So yeah, I would be a little bit concerned about that. Tom Stewart, just because he scored 105 doesn't mean you immediately trade him in. I just think people are looking at him thinking his role has, and his role could have turned around, and he could go 115 for the rest of the year. I'm just too worried that 105 is just sort of an outlier, and then you get stuck with Stewart back at his 70, 80, 60 best. So you, as I said last week with a lot of my trade target guys, Give it a week. Let's see how he plays, and then go from there and respond to that. I don't think you can respond to one direct game because that is just points chasing in itself, and that is one of the biggest mistakes people make. Like even the Connor Rosie one, people jumped on him, and if I had jumped on him, I would have had to jump on Simpkin. Well, they both sort of failed 150 points, whereas I got 118 out of Zorko, 69 out of Humphreys, which gained a lot more cash, and then I gained also, because that was about 1,300, I think I gained also about 250 in the kitty also from the moves. So I actually gained a lot more out of just Zorko, and I had to play Dowling, who basically went the same as went the same points total as Simpkin. So yeah, I really actually gained a lot out of that move. I gained a free 250k plus cash gen. Zorko, I think if you don't have him still, I think he's a very, very good option. He is consistently going one upwards of a top 6 forward. I mean, we said top 6 forward was 88, top 8 was 87. So any forward that's going decently above that marker for 3 or so weeks, you should be grabbing onto. And you can see here with Zorko, he is definitely doing that. He is 112 last 3, 102 last 5. Lockie Whitfield as well, another guy that I would be considering, although I would maybe just watch out for Whitfield and also Walsh these games. Problem with those two at the moment is that they've got tags of Bedford and Chincotta coming their way, surely. You'd have to think that. So that's why I'm a little bit worried about Whitfield, especially because there is no one else to tag in the back half for the likes of for GWS, as I believe was Ash out, or was it Kelly that's out as well? So you're not going to tag Kelly. You're not going to probably tag Ash before you tag Whitfield. So yeah, you're going to tag Whitfield first. So we've seen that happen before. Carlton 93, Sydney as well. He went 48, 108. So yeah, maybe you can bring him in and just forget about the tag, but I don't like to generally bring guys in that I'm predicting face a tag. Caleb Sarong, I wouldn't bring. He's got a good midfield game this week against Richmond. He did score 141 against them, but 875k. I feel like his form's dropped just slightly. So I wouldn't be bringing him in, to be honest with you, this week. But I could be swayed next week if he picks up his form, just because it isn't that bad of a form run, and he did get tagged in I think a couple of these games, but I just want to see him go all 120 again to say that he's regained it, I guess. And then he's got Hawks, Melbourne, Eagles, so yeah, we'll see. I just also want to check the midfield's different defense by position. This is a great tool. Let's just see, last 10 inside mids, West Coast, Geelong, Melbourne, Richmond are up there, but also Melbourne up. So that's actually, and we're a Hawthorn. Hawthorn are -3. Okay. And yeah, Sydney are -5. Sydney, GWS. He had Sydney, Gold Coast, and then also Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs are -2. Yeah. He had two negative teams and a positive team in that 3-game stretch where he didn't score the best. Bontempelli, I'd be bringing him in if you don't have him. 989k. I only expect him to get up there more in price now. He seems to have hit that curve now. 142, 126 in his last 2. Look at the 93 the week before, then a 159 the week before that itself, and a 98 against the Swans. He's really, in his last 5, shown up with a 123 and a last 3 of 120. I really like that pick there. Dylan Moore, I don't necessarily agree with this pick, just because it is seen to be points chasing rather than role chasing. He had a really good game against West Coast, but does he do that against not St Kilda? Does he do that against Geelong? Let's just look at his role in this game, because I think this will show it off to you guys that I don't think his role was necessarily the greatest, but he's one that scores sort of sporadically. Let's just see here. Dylan Moore. Yeah, look at this role here. It's actually dropped off and gotten worse. So Dylan Moore's one that I could consider trading out in the next couple of weeks. I think he'll be one that I trade out in the next couple of weeks if I hold Fisher and I want Caldwell as well as some other guys, like all the forwards. Then I think Fisher will be that F7 forward potentially if I can get there. So yeah, there will be he potentially goes soon. Showmaker we talked about in the rookies. Clayton Oliver, I wouldn't be trading him in either. That's just points chasing. I think he's back, but I'm too worried that he drops like 80s, 90s and stuff like that and doesn't actually go large, as he went a 109, which 109 in itself is a good score, but look at this 106 he followed with a 99 and a 94. We've seen that happen before. And that's pretty much it. Nick Day, and yeah, we're getting down to guys that are like 500 traded in. So anyway, that pretty much is the video there. And I guess I will see you guys in the next one, which will be all my teams previews for the round as well as my tips. So I'll see you guys in those videos. Bye, guys.